We'll call this council agenda briefing meeting to order. I'm going to do a roll call at this time. Mayor Pro Tem is here. Councilman Rivenbark is at a committee meeting. We have Councilmember Spears. Are you here? Councilmember Spears, can you hear me?
Here. I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you. Councilmember Waddell. Councilmember Andrews.
Here.
Councilmember Joyner.
Here.
And the chair's here. We have a quorum, so we will now begin. We have several presentations tomorrow night. Consent agenda. C1 is an approval of the minutes of the special council meeting. C2 is a resolution to transfer current and formerly loaned helicopters and related equipment obtained through the Law Enforcement Support Office program.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just out of curiosity, is there any cost associated with this transfer?
Call Deputy Chief Alex Sotelo. She can respond to that question.
Good morning.
Agency that takes possession of.
Will you just
the
talk us
agency that-
talk us through the
Sorry.
process just a little bit?
So it's a government program, the same thing when we got it, and it was transferred over, and the agency that takes it over is in charge of all costs, so it's no cost associated.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Okay. C3 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of equipment for 23 police vehicles from Mobile Communications America Incorporated for $287,771. C4 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of one tracked aerial lift from Altech Industries Incorporated for $188,041. Tom, can we see a picture of this thing? I know that.
Here, please. Pictures.
So this is what we're going to be using to trim trees? Who's the arborist here?
Reese is here, and he could describe it a
Aaron,
little
come
bit
here
better.
real quick. Just curious. I know that's one of the things that we always have a concern about is how we maintain and take care of our trees. So this piece of equipment here is replacing what? What are you replacing it with?
Yes, this piece of equipment is replacing one of our bucket trucks, being just a mobile tracked lift. This would actually be moved around the city on a trailer and set up. It'll be used, it'll function the same way as a bucket truck, but it gives us more versatility. Being a tracked unit, we can actually drive it down into a parks, or if we're street side, if we need to get on the back side of a power line, like on the private property side of a power line and work that way, we can do it without risking getting into lines. It just gives us a lot more versatility on access to trees. The whole unit weighs a little less than 9,000 pounds, so it's a real light footprint. So there's very few places we can not get it. Compacts down to about 35 inches wide, so if we even need to drive it through just a walk-through gate to get access to property, we can do that as well.
Wow. Yes, sir.
It's pretty neat. What's the cost differential between this piece of machinery and a bucket truck?
I'll have to refer to our fleet manager for that one.
Good morning. I just quoted a bucket truck about the same size as this, and it was about, this unit's about $100,000 to $150,000 cheaper.
That's negligible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is cheaper.
This is cheaper.
Oh.
Yeah. Very good. So I know, Aaron, you've been looking for something like this, I'm sure, for a while. I know that you'll have some issues going around sidewalks, people's property, especially
Yes.
in downtown.
Yes, sir. We've been researching this, been a lot of research in the background before we settled on this particular model and this brand. Been looking at this for 5 or 6 years, so it's been a long time. We've been working on it.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Dylan, can we go back to the, okay. And then we have a C5 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 mini Packer trash trucks from AMAC Equipment Company Incorporated, Lexington, North Carolina for $292,112. C6 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2,000 banquet chairs from 30 office furniture for use at the Wilmington Convention Center. C7 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to apply for NCDQ Resilient Coastal Communities Program grant. C8A is a resolution certifying sufficiency of the annexation petition for property located at 904, 912, and 1000 North Kerr Avenue. Then C8B is the resolution establishing a public hearing for the annexation of property located at 904, 912, and 1000 North Kerr Avenue. Public information, of course, public hearings. PH1 is an ordinance directing the housing inspector to vacate, close, and repair or demolish a dwelling at 613 South 14th Street as unfit for human habitation pursuant to Article 5, Chapter 16 of the City Code, and directing that a notice be placed thereon prohibiting its use or occupancy. And then PH2 is an ordinance directing the housing inspector to vacate, close, and repair or demolish the dwelling at 315 Mears Street as unfit for human habitation pursuant to Article 5, Chapter 16 of the City Code, and directing that a notice be placed thereon prohibiting its use or occupancy. Ordinances, 01 is an ordinance appropriating funds to upfit the Sting Center area offices at the Skyline Center. Item 02A is the resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with NCDOT to receive funding for the milling and resurfacing of Dawson and Wooster Street from 3rd Street to 17th Street. And then 02B is the ordinance making an appropriation in the amount of $1,911,000 from the North Carolina Department of Transportation to the Streets and Sidewalks Capital Projects Fund for the milling and resurfacing of Dawson and Wooster Street from 3rd Street to 17th Street. Resolutions are, one is a resolution accepting donation of land from Cameron Company LLC for the benefit of the Silver Stream Branch Water Quality Facility. And then R2 is a resolution amending the City Council's Rules of Order, R6, Rule 6, public comment period. And this is being brought forward by Councilmember Andrews.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I was just wanting to get Councilmember Andrews to maybe walk me through it. My reading of it seemed really reasonable, and I appreciate you bringing it forward. Basically, it seemed to me that if there, sometimes we'll have folks fill out their application to speak in advance and then not show up. And so basically, this is an overflow, that may be a good explanation, but an overflow list where when people are actually in the chambers the evening of the meeting, that then if there is an opening, that they would fill it in. But just walk me through that if you don't mind.
Yes, and in addition, I'm proposing that we reduce the time allotted to each speaker from 5 minutes to 3 minutes, which is far more typical for public comment periods, and that would give actually more people the opportunity to speak but still limiting it to the 30 minutes.
Question, my interpretation of what I was reading, it seemed like you were saying that, like anybody could come up and sign up on that day. Like, not just, people that signed up earlier and missed the deadline. So like, let's say Joe Blow could come in and go, I want to speak today.
Correct. And we take the people from the ones that have reservations, essentially. It's just like making a reservation for a restaurant. We take the people who have reservations first, and then if there's space available, we can take the people who are actually here and ready to speak.
And so instead, okay, thanks.
And then the last one is reports, RP1, Report of Council's Appointments Committee for Boards, Commissions, and Committees. And this concludes this portion of the agenda. I know that we have several presentations today. So, Mr. Moten?
Mr. Mayor and members of council, we have 2 agencies present, but a total of 4 requests for you to consider. These are agencies seeking additional funding in the FY26 budget process. The first person on the list would be retired U.S. Navy Captain Wilbur Jones. At your dais, you have information for each entity. It should be one on the Heritage Ship, YMCA, Link, and also one from former District Attorney Ben David. So you have 4 financial requests, but 2 presentations today. So Mr. Jones, if you'll take to the podium, please.
Good morning, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. It's always a pleasure to appear before this group to talk about preserving Wilmington's World War II history. My request I made for the 2026 budget cycle was for $216,000 to cover known and contingency costs for the numerous activities we have planned and have under discussion to highlight America 250 next year and Wilmington's role in World War II. In fact, the theme of the World War II aspect of America 250 is to recognize and promote our designation as America's first World War II heritage city. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have, but first let me say that the highlight of what we expect next year is a visit for 1 week by the Liberty ship John W. Brown from Baltimore. It's very similar to the ones that were built in Wilmington during World War II. There are only 2 Liberty ships still floating in the world. This one in Baltimore and the one in its counterpart in Oakland, California. The tentative schedule would have the ship arriving on the 11th of May of next year and departing on the 18th. Where she will dock is still undecided. We are limited in spaces on the Cape Fear River for docking any large vessel. The state port and I have agreed that it is impractical to host the port, that the port would host the ship there for security reasons, public access, and other constraints. That leaves us with 2 options. The Port City Marina at the north end of the river, or the Coast Guard dock. I have already been visited by a captain of the ship 2 months ago who looked at both of those spots. The senior captain from the foundation in Baltimore will be here in about 2 weeks to meet, hopefully with officials of the city, to look at both docks and help to make the determination on where the ship goes. Now, each may have its positives and perhaps even negatives. But I can assure you that if we want that ship here, we're going to have to put it somewhere on the river, and we have to work together to figure out the best for the ship because of the potential economic and tourism value it will have for Wilmington and New Hanover County. And this is the highlight of our activities next year. We also have World War II warbirds, aircraft that will fly in here through the Commemorative Air Force. We have contacts with 5 operators all over the country to bring them in here. The North Carolina National Guard, 30th Brigade, plans to stage here. We have a number of activities, educational, reenactments, music, theaters, all kinds of things, which will start, by the way, on or about August the 14th, which is the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. And while we're at it, let me invite you to Halliburton Park on May the 20th at 10 o'clock. We will dedicate the real nice exterior sign outside of the Vista Center for Halliburton Park, something that we've needed a long time. If you'd like to ask me questions or if I can provide any information, I'll be more than happy to.
Are there any questions? Yes, sir. Mr. Jordan.
Thank you for coming and presenting to us today. I'm curious if you have any sort of recommendations on how we would track tourism data for these events in particular.
Again, please?
How would we track tourism data for these events in particular? Do you have interest lists? Are there marketing materials that people have already been responsive to? I'm just I agree with you that I think this would be an important tourist attraction. I'm just curious if we have any ballpark numbers on what they might be.
Well, I provided council with a mock budget, and I have a copy here I'll be glad to provide. Some of the costs we know for sure. For example, in order to get the Liberty ship here, the host city, any host city, is asked to pay 50% of the fuel costs, and that will work out to about $80,000 to get the ship from Baltimore here. And then we know that. I also know that there will be some fees for getting the aircraft here. Depends on how far the aircraft have to fly in here from Arizona, Texas, Virginia, whatever. And so, but some of this is contingency because we are still trying to tie down exactly when the military units will be here, such as a Coast Guard vessel that we've asked to be here. And we've got to have a contingency just in case.
And I've got the budget in front of me. I think I appreciate you for providing us with those numbers. And I think you emailed us some time ago with some additional numbers. So this is a useful update. Thank you. My specific question, and maybe if you have this in the future, you can follow up with us. But in particular, you indicated that the Liberty ship, SS John W. Brown, you think would probably be the biggest tourism driver of all of this?
Yes.
And so if you have specific numbers on how much tourism you think that would generate, how many, folks on the Riverwalk or on the Coast Guard property to look at that will be helpful in the future.
Well, I think, Councilmember Joyner, you give me credit for having more economic savvy than I think that I have. I'm a historian. I only have common sense in figuring out that it's going to be a big smash. Someone else is much more capable of giving some estimated figures. But all the thing, I can hear the cash register going right now all over town.
So, Mr. Waddell, and then Ms. Andrews.
Yeah, Captain Jones, I appreciate your service to the country and your service to the community and your passion for history and and bringing this to Wilmington. I truly do. And I've appreciated the communication that you've had thus far and coming before us here today. With regards to the mock budget, there's projected potential income sources, and the first line is individual donors. Has that already begun, that financial campaign already begun? If so, how are we looking?
Councilmember Waddell, we don't have an official campaign. Right now, we are picking and choosing and sizing people up, potential corporate sponsors and others. We have applied for a grant through the local endowment, for example, and we're looking at other grants. We're looking at all kinds of alternate sources.
Sure. Is there I guess how much would you be looking to get from an individual donor standpoint in this stack of what the city would bring, what the endowment may bring, what individual donors may bring? Is the total budget that $270,000 that you're trying to raise for this? I'm trying to understand the full picture.
Well, let's say that the city council, with all of its good graces, grants our budget request, and we still go out and raise some more money. This is a highlight of my 27 years of trying to preserve history here. And as far as I'm concerned, we can give some of it back because next year we'll be promoting and trying to capitalize on Wilmington's designation as America's first World War II heritage city. And it's a catch-up to get that far. So if someone wants to give it back, I'm going to retire. You don't know how old I am, but I'm probably older than I look. Mary Sappho, you know how old I am. But I've got to look for the golden years. I got to get out of this volunteer business. And I can't go to Europe anymore, but anyway, we'll work it out.
Okay.
Okay.
That's helpful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, Ms. Andrews.
Yes, I was just looking at your grand total of $177,000. How much are you looking to ask the city for?
Well, the latest mock budget is for 216.
Oh, 216,
And, and most of, and about half of that is contingency, Councilwoman Andrews.
Okay. All right, and so how much are you looking to ask the city for versus the county versus
All of it,
all of it?
yeah. I'm also asking the county. I figure that between the two of you, my gosh, wouldn't that be wonderful if what we could put on next year? A lot of it is unanticipated. This is the first time somebody tried to do this, folks. I mean, we have no boilerplate. This is not the Azalea Festival to do it again and again and again, same old way. And we're all volunteers on my side, and we're working toward the end for Wilmington.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Captain Jones, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Sapper.
Thank you, sir.
Next, Mr. Mayor, is Sarah Gibbs with the YMCA requests regarding facilities. Dick Jones is with Sarah as well.
Good morning, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present today a project at our Midtown YMCA. I'm joined by several friends of the Y. You all would please stand. John Cockrum, who is our current board chair. Russell Herring, who is our past board chair. Both Jim Hunley and Walker Rudd also serve as past chairs of our board. So thank you all for being here. Sarah has provided some information to you, some of which you already have received in advance. And in addition, Mayor, I believe she gave you some letters of support from the endowment and others in our community. Well, I will tell you that the Y today is very different than what it was 34 years ago when I moved to Wilmington. Tom, do I manipulate the slides here? There we go. This Y has been in community for almost 140 years, and you can see all of these different pinpoints. That's where we're serving, southeastern North Carolina. You can see the largest grouping of those is in the city of Wilmington. Today, our Y serves 6 counties in 3 different facility branches. We've got some 34 different child care sites, and over 30,000 individuals are served on an annual basis.
Dick, I don't mean to interrupt, but could you tell me what the different colors mean?
Yes, the yellow represents physical locations, facilities, whether that's a facility like the Near facility on Market Street or the Midtown location on George Anderson. It may be a camp like Camp Kirkwood up in Burgaw, and then at the very top edge of the map is another facility. The purple colors represent community partners where we deliver programs. That might be through a church, it might be through a city or parks relationship. And then the blue locations represent schools. We are in 4 different school districts serving kids in after school. So that's the color scheme that's
Thank
there.
you.
And each of those dots represents either hundreds or thousands of people that we're serving.
Thank you.
When you think about membership at the Y, we are over 14,000 members. 67% of those members are city residents. We serve a lot of seniors, some 2,500 seniors, and 65% of those are residents of the city of Wilmington. Child care, as we mentioned, we serve a lot of school districts and school children, but 70% of those are city residents. It's where our largest aggregation of youth after school is. Youth sports is very big with the Y. We've got lots of kids that we serve. Some, gosh, looks like it's over 3,000 kids. About 75% of those are City of Wilmington residents. All of those are under the age of 18. And then you can see that we also do a lot of swim lessons in our community. Vast majority of those, again, are city residents. And then one of the things that's so important to the Y is we want to make sure that we are accessible to all. And last year, we provided more than $1.3 million in financial assistance that allowed folks to participate in Y programs. It may be programs that were free to the community. It may be membership to the Y. and 825,000, 63% of those funds were distributed to residents of the city of Wilmington. The project that we are asking for your support is the expansion of the Midtown Y, which is located at 709 George Anderson Drive, directly across from Halliburton Park. That expansion will take a 16,000 square foot facility to a 48,000 square foot facility. And a part of that expansion will include an expanded fitness and recreational spaces for folks that will be able to serve the growing population in that part of Wilmington and south. There'll be 3 multi-sport courts. I'm sure none of you all have played pickleball, but those will be pickleball courts. There'll be a full-size basketball court that's a part of that. Child care is a very important program out of that location, and so we'll be expanding, adding more classrooms for out-of-school child care, sports, and enrichment, as well as career development for our teenagers. A new indoor aquatic space will be added to that campus, which will allow us to expand the swim lessons that we do, the water safety programming that we provide there, and then also water exercise for all the residents. Meeting spaces and gathering spaces will be added as a part of that, allowing us to serve more citizens in that particular community. And then overall, it'll allow us to expand not only the programs, but also job opportunities in order to staff that location. The anticipated results of that expansion will be an additional 6,000 members of the Y from that community. Many of those will be seniors. About 30% of those will be some seniors. We'll also see an expanded 50% growth in the child care programs and services that we'll be able to provide in that part of the community. Another additional 2,000 swim lessons. You know, water capacity is such a premium these days in our community, so that's one of the additions that will really be important to the community. And then overall capacity to provide additional second grade swim, we call it schools and pools, to second grade students in our community. This picture, it really depicts what will happen. Everything on the left side of this picture exists today. If you go right down the middle of the page, everything to the right will be brand new additions to this property. This particular location is a 10-acre site. On the left side of, not the diagram, but the left side of the property will remain untouched, about 5 acres of program outdoor space. And so the remaining 5 acres is where this addition will take place. You will be able to see the buildings that are built on the left side of this diagram from 17th Street Extension as you drive down that. Well, the real question is why it matters. Why should you choose to invest in a partner like the YMCA? Why should it make a difference to the city of Wilmington? Well, there are a number of needs that we know, but perhaps they're not top of mind. Nearly 1 in 3 adults is considered obese in our community. And so what better way to help address that than providing some community health programs and opportunities for area residents to become focused on their health and wellness, healthier habits. Interestingly enough, there are parts of our community where the life expectancy is 10 years less than other parts of our community. You scratch your head and say, how can that be? Well, one of the reasons why that we think this is a good program and project for you all to invest in is that this expanded Y will help close that health gap in neighborhoods in and around that area through programs and services, not just that we provide, but also that we make available at little or no cost to those individuals. The number of mental unhealthy days in our county has increased by 30% over the last decade, and the Y provides opportunities for socialization, for camaraderie with others, and certainly creating a healthy space for both adults as well as teens to address that sense of belonging and affiliation. Affordable child care in that part of Wilmington, more than 7,700 children are in need of after-school care under the age of 15. Certainly this project will allow us to expand the opportunity to provide kids preschool, after-school care, and summer camp in that community, in that location. When we think about community safety, some of the needs, New Hanover County ranks among the top 3 counties in our state for accidental drownings. That sad fact will be addressed by the addition of this aquatics facility, opening up space for free water safety and swim lessons to children and adults throughout the year in that location. It also provides a structured programming for out-of-school care. It reduces the likelihood of youngsters and teenagers engaging in or becoming victims of delinquent behavior. Expanding this Y will double our capacity to serve youth and teens through childcare and sports, swimming, encouragement, as well as camp development opportunities. From an economic development standpoint, the city and the county have both said they are interested in expanding the workforce and economic development in and around our community as part of your strategic plan. And certainly with this project, we will expand the number of part-time and full-time employees by more than 50 individuals. I would also say that you all are in the unique position to have just recently approved a strategic plan for the city. In February, you approved that plan. And when you look at the WISE project and its alignment with the city's strategic plan, there are 3 of the 5 areas of focus that you've identified that we think the Y makes a great natural partner. This is in one of the handouts that we gave you, but I'll briefly share with you that when you think about the area of focus of creating a thriving, inclusive, and affordable community of neighborhoods, which is your area of focus, there are 2 initiatives there. One, connecting communities with pathway facilities that promote open space and community activities. I think the Y would certainly be one of those partners. Another initiative you have is to invest in and implement community-based practices that leverage public engagement in managing public safety. Again, I think the Y is a natural partner in that for you all. When you talk about creating a safe and healthy and engaged community, you've stated one of your initiatives is to continue efforts to reduce violent crimes in the Wilmington community. Our teen efforts and certainly youth efforts definitely speak to that initiative. The city also wants to partner across city departments, nonprofit organizations, and the community at large to provide young people with opportunities for growth and development. Again, that speaks to about half of what the Y does each and every day. And then a third area of focus for you all is to cultivate an environment for economic growth, job creation, and cultural vibrance. And you've stated you'd like to develop partnerships to support programs that expand workforce development opportunities for all skill sets and backgrounds. So often the Y is a first job opportunity for young kids, whether that's being a referee for soccer or basketball, or perhaps being a lifeguard at many pools that we operate. And finally, you've said you'd like to leverage local, state, and federal programs, resources, and relationships to cultivate economic development opportunities. Certainly, you will see that with this program, this initiative, the Y is seeking resources and partners all across our state to help us develop this particular project. Where we stand today, we are more than halfway funded with this initiative, $8.1 million. We have a request in to you all to fund $1 million towards this $15 million campaign. We know that budgets are tight, and so our recommendation is to fund this over multiple years, probably 5 years, so that it is not too large a chunk in any particular year. We are also asking the county to fund $1.5 million of this project as well, and you probably saw some of the media over the weekend. Both our elected officials all of our elected officials up in Raleigh have supported a House bill to fund $2 million of this project as well. So we are looking to all of our friends and supporters to help make this investment in our community a success. From a timing perspective, this is a visual of what we will be building. You can see that the timeline shows groundbreaking in July of this year. That is tied into the funding requests that we have. We would like to be able to have a commitment, not funds, but a commitment from the city towards that $1 million that will allow us to get to groundbreaking this summer. It's about a 15-month project, and so we would anticipate that if we groundbreak this summer, that we would be opening this facility to the community in November of 2026. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Just before Councilman Waddell, my question would be transportation. Tell us a little bit more about how you would get, you mentioned the kids or people that die 10 years, sooner
Yes,
and all
sir.
that.
We are in the transportation business. I would love to tell you we're not, but we have 30 or 35 buses that we operate every day. They transport kids and teens to our facilities from all the elementary schools in our community. They pick up and transport kids to our summer camp locations every summer, every day. We have talked about the possibility of those vehicles being used for other members of our community, seniors and others, so that it creates an even greater accessible access to our programs. But at this point, primarily, we are transporting youth and kids throughout our community.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Waddell.
Yeah, Mr. Jones, I just want to say thank you for the work that you do in our community. Thank you for driving this forward. I spent a lot of time at the YMCA growing up. I got my lifeguard certification there. Mayor Pro Tem, if you would have seen me on the New Bern YMCA basketball court circa 2006,
Okay.
they probably still talk about it.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Still talk about it. Got hot. But it was a big part of my life, and so I certainly understand the need for it in the community, the need to continue to expand it. So I want to try and help. All that being said, as you said, budgets are tight, and we're looking at some, we're tight budgets for the next, for the future, I'm sure. We're looking at how to mitigate inflation, just like everybody else is. We're looking how to make sure we're paying our people the right way, and so what I'm looking to you for as we kind of move forward with this is, are there use cases maybe across the state, across the nation, where supplemental funding for capital projects was provided by taxpayers to some form or fashion, and how was that leveraged? How was it utilized? Really just other instances where it's been done successfully, hopefully in the state, for major capital projects. I do see the need, I do see the benefit to the community, but I'm just kind of looking at what point other cities maybe across the state have funded YMCA capital projects. So not asking for that off the top of your head here, but maybe over the course of the next couple of weeks, if y'all could bring something like that to me and maybe the rest of the council, it would be helpful.
Absolutely. There are a number of community partnerships across the state that I'll reference for you, whether it is capital or operational. Even the partnership we have today with the city, where we operate the city pools for you all. There are communities where new Ys are being built today in the central part of the state through funding both from city and county, as well as state dollars supporting that in the middle part of the state. And then both in the larger communities, Raleigh, Charlotte, as well as Asheville, they have funding partners from the city and county as well. And we'll send that information to you.
Specific capital projects, I'd like to see that if you don't mind. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, and I understand the magnitude of the request, which is why we're really suggesting this be over multiple years. This is not a single year ask at all.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, sir. Councilman Spears.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jones, I got a few questions for you. Well, a couple questions. How much does the YMCA make from its partnership with the city of Wilmington and managing our pools?
Thank you for the question, Council Member. The arrangement with the city provides funding for staff and provides funding towards utilities. And then the YMCA captures revenue from residents who use the facilities. They pay a daily access fee. We also rent the facility out to programs and child care centers and swim teams in hours when the pool is not open to the public. If you look back over the last couple of years, the funding from the city, the funding from the revenue that is generated from use of facilities, and you subtract the entire operating expenses, I think the bottom line profit, if you will, is somewhere in the $10,000 to $20,000. And when there is a profit, and there have been the last couple of years, we split that profit 50-50 with the city. So if we ended up, let's say last year had a bottom line of $40,000, the Y retained $20,000 and the city received $20,000. So that's our arrangement with the city. We're fortunate that the city does fund most of the operating expenses, but it does cost more than what the city funds to operate it, so that we capture the revenue stream from the residents that use the facility or the folks that rent it during the day. And hopefully between those two major streams of revenue, we cover the operating cost in its entirety.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's your last question? Okay,
Yeah, it was a combination question.
all right. Any other thoughts, questions? All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you all for the opportunity to be here this morning.
You're welcome. Yes,
I
sir.
also like to challenge Luke in a game of basketball.
All right,
Well, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, that
Yes, sir.
concludes the presentations for additional funds for FY26 budget process.
okay. I thought, did you say you had a presentation from Link or something else?
You have a document at the dais.
Okay.
That's a spreadsheet from Link, but no presentation. And also a funding request at the dais from former District Attorney Ben David for a program that he would like to get the city's support.
All right, so those are all your presentations?
Yes, sir, that's
All right,
correct.
nothing else coming before us? Meeting adjourned.